Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you, Shashwat, Mayank, Rajiv Singh ji, and to the new chapter members of Indian Chamber of Commerce, Hyderabad. And I'm also delighted that this, in fact, will be the southern headquarters for ICC, and I'm delighted that we are unveiling the chapter today. To the distinguished gathering and also my friends from the media, I welcome you all. I was briefed by Shashwat, Mayank, Rajiv and the rest of the team from ICC on what ICC has been doing for the last several decades. In fact, I was surprised, I must admit, when they mentioned and when they told me that ICC possibly is the oldest organization. In fact, it predates FICCI, which generally is considered the oldest business organization in the country. So I was actually surprised, but I realized also that India has changed and the entire landscape has changed quite a bit in the last several decades. Now, at one point of time, Calcutta, of course, was home to major business houses. It still is. I'm sure Shashwat and Mayank will take offense if I say otherwise. So therefore, I will stick to the theme, and I'll tell you that Calcutta is, of course, one of the most important business hubs, and I'm sure Didi will mind if I say Calcutta. Kolkata is definitely a business hub. But in the last 2 decades, or in the last 3 decades more so, especially after Indian markets have opened up, after P.V. Narasimha Rao ji has brought in the liberalization era, we've seen tremendous amount of foreign investment come in. We've seen newer business hubs emerge in India. We've also seen newer businesses flourish and do extremely well. More important than foreign direct investment, I think it has spurred the confidence in Indian business houses today to do a lot more, to actually compete with global players on an even keel, to give them the confidence that they can actually compete with the best in the world. Today, in fact, some of the best airports in the country and possibly in the world are built by Indians, and more proudly, they are Telugus also. We have GMR, we have GVK, who have built world-class infrastructure companies and world-class airports, and they are from India and they are from Hyderabad. Likewise, we have some major pharmaceutical companies which are giving the best in the business a run for their money. We have some major infrastructure companies which have been doing exceptionally well on a world stage as well. And we also have great deal of opportunities as a country to explore the youth of India, the think force of India. Just looking at the demographic, everybody speaks about the demographic dividend that India has to offer. Everybody also talks about how much potential India has. In fact, when India became the 6th largest economy recently, somebody that I know very well remarked, he said, India is a rich country with poor people. I don't believe that is true. And the reason why I say this is because in the last 2.5 decades, India has shown the world that it cannot be ignored anymore. India is not just the back office anymore. India is not just that destination where you get your services done. India is not just that destination where you are a huge market opportunity to big business houses across the world. India is also home today to many youngsters who are going to, in the next decade, create world-class companies, offer solutions to the rest of the world, solve many of the problems plaguing the world, and I do believe that's where ICC has a huge role to play. Because if you look at CII and FICCI, and I work with both of them, I must tell you, and both of them are extremely efficient also. I think where ICC has a huge opportunity, firstly I think if I should say and keep saying this more often, ICC is not International Cricket Council but Indian Chamber of Commerce. I think if I should say that more often so that people actually start confusing the other ICC for you. Where ICC has a huge opportunity vis-a-vis CII or FICCI is certainly reaching an untapped large market, large, small and medium entrepreneurs. For example, if you look at a country like Germany, Germany has some large companies, of course, without a question. There are the Beamers and there are several other engineering companies which are truly world class. But if you look at the German economy, more than 80% of Germany's economy, more than 80% of their GDP contribution, especially in the manufacturing sector, comes from the small and medium entrepreneurs. The small and medium entrepreneurs, in fact, whether we like it or not, and whether the large conglomerates of the world like it or not, the fact of the matter is they actually provide more employment than the large companies in the world. So therefore, to handhold them, to give them that much needed policy advice, to give them that much needed enabling, to create that enabling ecosystem with government, with financial institutions, I think that's where ICC can truly make a huge difference. And I'm delighted with the kind of leadership team sitting on the stage here. All of them are much younger than me, except my aunt, maybe possibly as old as I am. But they're very, very young, and they're very, very upbeat about India. They're very, very upbeat about the business opportunities in India. They're upbeat about the fact that Hyderabad also has a great deal to offer to India. So therefore, I give you one commitment today on this stage. We work, like I said, very closely with Confederation of Indian Industry, FICCI, and I will assure you that in ensuring that we create a very similar ecosystem to that of Germany on manufacturing, we will work closely with ICC. In fact, we can even think of setting up a consultative team to work closely with you guys and to actually start engaging with the small and medium entrepreneurs in the state of Telangana. And you told me, you had mentioned in your speech as well, that this would be the base for southern India. And within southern India, in fact, we have some amazing opportunities. Opportunities in Chennai, opportunities in Bengaluru, Amaravati, Kochi. You have some wonderful, truly progressive states in South India, which have always done exceptionally well on any indices you look at. Now, one thing I do have to mention to you fairly quickly is the opportunities the state of Telangana also, of course, presents. I would be remiss in my fiduciary responsibility if I don't do that. So let me quickly tell you why Telangana has, in fact, in a very, very short span of 4 years, been able to scale many of these charts, many of these rankings, and why it is considered a very progressive state by the rest of Indian Incorporated today. Telangana in the last 4 years has done some things remarkably well. One of the things we are very proud of is that we focused on basics. We focused on ensuring that the basic infrastructure requirements of any potential investor are taken care of. When we inherited the government, we were a power deficit state. But within a very short span of time, within 6 months, we were able to overcome the power crisis. And today I'm happy to share with you, we are a power surplus state, and we are also, in fact, number 2 state on solar energy production in India. We are confidently marching towards a brighter future because we not only are the only state in India which offers 24 hours uninterrupted power supply to the domestic sector, to the industry, but also, unlike any other state in India, possibly Andhra Pradesh, we are the only state which possibly offers 24 hours of free power to our farming sector as well. And this again without really enhancing our electricity tariff in the last 4 years. So a lot of good work has been done on the power front. So is the case with irrigation and the amazing potential of this land. Our Chief Minister, in fact, is a man who believes that as long as we stir up, as long as we revive, as long as we are rejuvenating our rural economy, things are going to be heading in the right direction. So we've taken this as a huge challenge and a huge priority, and we've spent more than 1 lakh crores on creating new irrigation facilities for the farmers of Telangana. We've also come out with pioneering policies in ensuring that welfare and development go hand in hand. And today, as a result, you not only see prosperity in some sectors, but you see an all-round inclusive approach towards development and welfare in our state, which makes us very, very proud and very, very happy. And the other thing I also wanted to point out, a lot of times a state's progress is also measured by the way it brings about reforms in various sectors. One of the reforms which we are extremely proud of is the reform we brought in industry sector. We came out with what is called as TS IPAS, an enactment of the government of Telangana, one of the first few legislations we have enacted. In fact, it's so progressive, it possibly is one of the best policies, best industrial policies in the world. The reason why I say this with a lot of confidence wherever I go is because it is actually delivered. 3 years ago, when we formulated TS IPAS, our industrial policy, our Chief Minister gave us a mandate to be the best in the world, best in the business. So we said, how can we do that? We did not want to reinvent the wheel. We took some cues, we took some lessons from various successful industrialized nations, other industrialized states within India. We looked at their policies and we made it our own after, of course, making a few changes which suit the local ecosystem here. One of the things we did, we allow in Telangana for self-certification. For example, if Shashwat Goenka's group wanted to come in and had a piece of land, wanted to come in and start construction of their factory, you do not have to seek a clearance from the government of Telangana. You can self-certify yourself as being in compliance with the law of the land, and you can start construction on day one, which no other state in India will tell you today. We also offer you all clearances in less than 15 days. And for those of you who are thinking, who are wondering, I've heard this before, single windows, timely clearances, etc. How is Telangana any different? We are different. We are different because if we do not deliver on the 15-day promise, on the 16th day by statute, it's an approval by default, it's a deemed approval. No other state in India will tell you that either. And the third thing that will kick in, which makes us extremely unique, is the fact that from the 16th day, if there is found to be a delay, we actually levy a fine, a penalty of rupees 1,000 per day to the bureaucrat who is held responsible for the delay. Fortunately for us, we have not had to do that. We have not had to resort to that. In the last 3 years, we gave clearances to more than 6,700 units. We've been able to attract more than $20 billion of investment, $20 billion US dollars of investment, and we've been able to create more than 500,000 plus direct employment in the private sector, and at least twofold that indirectly in the same sector. So this goes to show you that even in India, when the state is determined, when the leadership is determined, and when there is enough focus in ensuring that reforms are brought in quickly, when there is an approach of institutionalizing change and getting away from the individual, mode, and when processes take center stage and not just policies, then I think you will see the real change coming in. And therefore, in the last 2 years, according to DIPP and World Bank, last year we were number one in the ease of doing business index in India. This year, in fact, we are still contending it, but we lost out by about 0.09% by a hair's breadth. But nevertheless, I can tell you one thing for sure: we are a state that continues to grow, that continues to reform, that continues to actually take feedback from our existing investors, and we are a state that is also looking out for newer opportunities as well. One of the things, and I'll close out after saying this, one of the things I am extremely proud of is that we don't only go after new investors. We're not always running after new investors. We have a three-pronged strategy. Of course, we seek new investments into 14 thrust areas where we are trying to play to our strength, but we also are looking at ensuring that our existing business houses do well, and we are wanting them to expand as well. We also, in fact, as part of our strategy, have focused on reviving sick units or incipient sick units. We also have launched a new vehicle, a special purpose vehicle called the Industrial Health Clinic. Unlike any other state in India, an industrial health clinic has been launched, again with an excessive and obsessive focus on small and medium entrepreneurs. We ensure that those companies which are in incipient sick stage are handheld, are guided by the department, and we also conduct techno-economic viability studies for them, and we ensure that whatever support they require from financial institutions and the government is given at the right time, so that they actually don't end up being sick or don't end up in debt. So these are the kind of policies that we've been pushing as part of our agenda to industrialize our state. And I do believe that Indian Chamber of Commerce today, being led by a very, very young team here, is going to offer us a great deal of help and great deal of encouragement in ensuring that this much neglected sector, the small and medium entrepreneurs, are also catered to. The other thing Rajiv briefly touched upon is T-Hub. T-Hub is India's largest technology incubator today. In fact, in about a year from now, we'll have the world's largest incubator in Hyderabad, the phase 2 of it. And I do believe startups is the way forward, innovation is the way forward. Because recently when John Chambers was here, the former chairman of Cisco, he made a very famous remark that stood out in my mind. He said between all the top 100 Fortune 100 companies, you will not see a great deal of new employment being created cumulatively. He said the next wave of employment, the next spurt of employment will actually come from innovators, young innovators and young startups. So we are, as a state, betting big on startups and young companies coming up, young product companies and young services companies coming up. And again, ICC I think also has a unique opportunity, unlike CII and FICCI, to focus on this young lot of entrepreneurs who are looking for guidance, who are looking for mentorship, more importantly, because the one thing that solely is lacking in India today is proper mentorship of these young guys. Because there could be some really good ideas, there could be some brilliant innovations, but unless they are guided, unless there is an enabling ecosystem which helps them get the finance, which also helps them get proper mentorship, and which also kind of guides them to getting incorporated, going after financial institutions and scaling up, things will not fall in place. So therefore, your task is cut out, and opening a chapter is easy, but actually living up to the billing and living up to the hype and ensuring that this becomes a roaring success in competition with some seriously entrenched players is going to be a challenge. So I wish you all good luck, and I also promise you all support from Government of Telangana. Thank you very much.